Walking Stick Library presents Who Are Joseph Sansone and Rachel Rodriguez with your librarian hostess with the mostest, Eileen Kramer. And don't forget, you can catch this stream live on Twitch.
We got a couple people I'm very curious about on Clouthub, and I'm going to let them do their stuff for just a little while. And then we're going to stop them. Let me drop my curtain and minimize again. Drop it, minimize, and away we go. No. There, I'm just cleaning up Photoshop here because it takes up too much space, and we need to give this computer a little bit of a break. I didn't clean up in aisle 9, but we're going to clean it up right now. Okay, we're ready to go. We don't need this guy anymore. This is Dr. Joseph Sansone, and he is a psychotherapist, which means he's either a psychiatrist or a psychologist. We're going to let him rip and give you a full screen.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joseph Sansone. I'm a psychotherapist opposed to psychopathic authoritarianism. This is My Matters and Everything Else. My Substack's josephsansone.substack.com. I am on X, but not much. It's at PhD Sansone. So I have Rachel Rodriguez from the Vyers Law Group here. It's Vyers Law Group. Am I saying that wrong? It's vyerslaw.group.
Freeze! Before we go further, down here it says PhD, not MD, so we know he is. I thought he was a clinical psychologist. I'll show you what he is in a little while.
And it's at Ray Rod ESQ on X, and I'll link these below as well. So, Rachel, welcome. Glad to have you with us today. Um, you put out um, I guess, criminal referrals with the laws for the. Tell us what you just put out. This nationwide criminal
Okay,
referral piece you put out.
absolutely. So what we've done, Joe, and thank you so much for having me on today. I think this is a really critical issue,
And
and
and just so people know, you've been working in for those that aren't familiar, you've been working kind of in the health freedom space for quite a few years now.
yeah, I mean, I'll give your audience just a little tiny background about who I am.
Please.
So, I was working. I'm here in Florida. I'm in West Palm Beach, and I was working with a law firm, a civil litigator, and that firm. I was doing immigration and commercial work, contracts, and intellectual property. And then I realized there was a serious issue with the censorship that I saw going on, and so I actually started a nonprofit for the purpose of addressing through litigation. Which, although I'm a litigator, I don't think everything is solved with litigation. But in this particular instance, it was because the biggest problem with the Section 42, excuse me, Section 230, is that the case law, especially in the Second and Ninth Circuits, was so bad that we were just getting.
I'm going to hold for a minute. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a law librarian, but I know from watching the news that Title 42 of the U.S. Code Annotated, which is our law code for this country, is public health. And Section 230 has to do with communication on the internet. Let's go. Actually, it has to do with more than that, but it has to do with that. That's what's been in the news.
Layers and layers of additional protections for platforms that were heavily censoring, which was never the intention of the federal law. So that's how I started that. And it's because of that work that I then started going to events. When the COVID era hit, I started going to events because this was along the same lines. We saw the severe censorship in the COVID era. And so that's what brought me into this. And I met some firefighters who then introduced me to Orange County firefighters who were fighting here in Florida against COVID mandates.
Okay, we have Our Lady. And if we click up here, we should be able to get to, that's not who I want, though he's fun. It's not what I want yet. That's not what I want either. Grr. But I got this finally to open up. And this is some of the things that she's involved with. This is interesting. And this is for all the people who didn't like their COVID vaccines, who want to go to court. And she has the former Feds group. This is her nonprofit that works with litigation. We are working tirelessly to ensure that justice is served for those who have suffered from both COVID-related crimes against humanity and the ongoing injustices faced by January 6th detainees. Somebody needs to take that down. They've been pardoned. If they get in trouble now, it's because they get in trouble. From the beginning, we've championed accountability, fighting to expose the truth and advocate for the dignity and rights of those affected by harmful policies. I wonder if this background was generated with AI. Very good question. I like the lupines growing over there. Down here we have American Medical Freedom Town Hall censored. I guess we have election integrity here too. We have the former Friends Freedom Foundation, restoring constitutional protections, opposition to central bank digital currencies. Why you'd want that, I don't know, but people do. Defense of constitutionally protected speech, advocacy, and public awareness. And here we have COVID Humanity Betrayal Project. And these people are murdered by the death protocols. They even have a quilt. Halt hospital homicide rallies. I know there were a few of those. And we have a medical alert bracelet that you can buy, of course, because they have to keep the lights on. Okay. That's one thing we've got. We've already seen this. We'll get back to him. And this is for a different project. Let me get more space. Now, she is part of the Virys group. This is her law firm. We will see that we'll check to see if she is in good standing too. That's Crunchbase. Okay, let's look at this more carefully. Okay, she is Rachel Rodriguez, Virys Group. Virys Law Group. Me bad. And this is, did I leave her C out? I did. She's Rachel, not Rahel. Okay, here she is on LinkedIn. This is their team at the Virys Law Group. We can get back to the Virys Law Group afterwards. There she is. West Palm Beach, Florida, Virys Law Group. Rachel hasn't posted yet. She started the Virys Law Group in 2022. Before that, she worked for 7 years and 7 months at Farkas and Toika LLP. We can find who they are. And then she was, so they're called different things, but let's have a look. And then she was in private practice before that. So back and forth, this is them. Farkas and Toika. So this is whom she worked for before. And then for some reason, she left to found her own Virys Law Group. And this is the Virys Law Group. Exposing corruption, combating tyranny, and uniting America. Okay, my guess is she's really a lawyer, but we can double check that. And the way we double check a lawyer is Florida Bar Association attorney search. Find a Florida bar lawyer. Okay, first name Rachel, last name Rodriguez, city West Palm Beach. Let's search. Rachel Lynn Tripp Rodriguez, bar number 110. Let's make this big enough to look. She's real. She's very real. Rachel Lynn Tripp Rodriguez, bar number 1140425, and she's real. Okay, she's really a lawyer. Let's see what else they give on her. Okay, she's right there at 515 North Flagler Drive. I've probably passed this building. My grandmother used to live in West Palm. This is her profile. She graduated from Rutgers School of Law, Camden, New Jersey. She speaks Spanish as well as English. She's a managing partner. There are 2 to 5 people in the firm. And this is where she's perfectly fine. She is a lawyer. Very much whom she says she is. That's always good. Now, there's something that she said early in the stream that kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I didn't know what the heck it was. And it's this. Criminal referral. What is a criminal referral? I know what criminal charges are. I know what a crime is. But what the heck is this? Well, we're going to find out. I need my Google. Fast way to get my Google, and we'll just put this sucker in here, and we should get a definition. Criminal referral, Wikipedia, right on top. I didn't even do a double search. I could have. Let me see how everyone's doing before I get too enmeshed. Okay, no luck. Okay, a criminal referral or criminal recommendation is a notice to a prosecutorial body recommending criminal investigation or prosecution of one or more entities for crimes that fall into that body's jurisdiction. Okay, so you can effectively you're writing a letter to somebody that says, "Dear County Attorney, dear State Attorney General, please investigate XYZ for ABC," whatever that is. The U.S. federal government, regulatory and law enforcement agencies that investigate crimes must typically refer cases to the Department of Justice for prosecution at its discretion. These referrals may not require formal documentation, but it may include a case report. In a direct referral, agencies refer cases to the U.S. attorney in that district where the crime has occurred. The United States Congress and its members, in their investigative role, issue criminal referrals to the Justice Department as well. State attorneys often refer federal crimes to the Justice Department. Investigative bodies under the Justice Department itself may also issue referrals to U.S. attorneys, such as against Michael Cohen in the Southern District of New York, which was referred by the Mueller investigation. Private counsel may also make criminal referrals on behalf of clients who have been victims of civil or criminal wrongdoing. That is what is going on here. In some states, state attorneys must receive a criminal referral from the state executive before pursuing criminal charges. Okay. Down here, number 4, we have the fine art of making a criminal referral. Let's go have a look-see. Oh. Okay, we can fix that. We're going in the Wayback Machine. We don't let stuff keep us down. Okay, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to copy the link, put it over here, paste it in, go. And it looks like we probably have to go back to 2019, and hopefully this will be up and running. We wait, we wait, we wait. We hold our breath. Okay, here we have it. And it's tiny. Okay. Here we have it. Many civil matters often involve conduct that rises to the level of criminality, while making a criminal referral is not as simple as dialing 911. Victims of parallel civil criminal wrongdoing can seek the assistance of law enforcement in protecting their rights and seeing wrongdoers punished. There are several key steps, however, that will ensure the best result. As a first step, consider whether there is any reciprocal wrongdoing on your client's part before approaching the government, even if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck. Thorough analysis of law and facts can avoid frittering away client resources or your own credibility by referring conduct that does not rise to the level of criminal offense. Reach out to a criminal attorney for advice, not only on the black letter law, but to take the pulse of government enforcement in a particular area. Your best bet is to get advice from a defense attorney who handles federal and state cases and can offer a more comprehensive perspective. Who you gonna call? Not Ghostbusters. If both state and federal law criminalize the conduct, you'll have to decide which jurisdiction to approach. If you think about approaching the feds, check into recent federal priorities of criminal enforcement through press releases and announcements on the Department of Justice's website. Public corruption, government fraud, including healthcare fraud, mortgage fraud, crimes against children, and national security are recurring areas of high interest. If you decide that your activity fits into the federal crosshairs, but the conduct occurs in multiple districts, consider that different offices will have different expertise depending on their location and the past prosecutions they have handled. You should not always try to federalize a criminal referral, however. State prosecutors usually will have a better appreciation for the case where the criminal activity has a local impact. State venue rules can usually direct you to the district attorney's office with jurisdiction. Brown paper packages tied up with a bow. Your referral will have a higher chance of success if you can present it with a heavy lifting already done. Draft a fairly in-depth referral letter, essentially a prosecution memorandum setting forth the law and facts and analyzing how the elements of the crime are met. A good referral letter includes some statement about why the case should be prosecuted and the public interest being vindicated, and often encloses a binder containing factual evidence such as emails, related contracts, or deposition transcripts. Never reach out to the government until you are comfortable that you have all the evidence needed to support a case. I want to have my case needed too. If you really want a pound of flesh, you need to include prosecutors early. By the time you have resolved your civil case, prosecutors may have missed out on a chance to execute a search warrant or issue a subpoena that would capture evidence. Memories fade over time. Also, you could create the impression that you are just piling on. No one ever becomes a prosecutor so they could be the wagging tail to your civil masterpiece. Once you involve law enforcement, be sure to seek their permission in pursuing your civil remedy. Mechanics 101. At the federal level, an ideal first contact is the deputy criminal chief within the U.S. Attorney's Office who oversees the particular area of criminal enforcement. Such information can sometimes be found on the office's website or in press releases related to similar prosecutions. See, I know nothing about this. I'm so glad I found this article. If there is no such individual, you will want to reach out to the criminal chief in the office. Use a similar approach with state prosecutors. Your first step is always going to be a telephone call or request for an in-person meetings, which you may or may not get. After the meeting, a steady supply of additional information is often required to keep the wheels of justice turning. Sometimes it is wise to request a friendly grand jury subpoena seeking the documents. But if there is a protective order in place in a civil case, you may need to approach the court that issued the protective order before turning over the records to the friendly grand jury subpoena. Lastly, as you move forward, keep in mind investigative agents play an important role in whether or not an investigation will culminate in a prosecution. Make them your friends. Do not waive privilege unless you mean to. Instead of simply forwarding privileged material to work or work product, consider providing the government with a letter that summarizes the facts and omits attorney impressions. Attorney impressions, after all, are the soul of the work product. Protection, and excluding them creates a strong position to claim that the work product has not been waived. And this is something I don't know. So we're kind of have an idea what's going on. Now let's go back to our friend Vyree's Law Group and look at their news. Looky what I got. Okay, brief in support of request for criminal investigation and prosecution. This is the criminal referral. Okay. And here we have Oklahoma law and principles of morality and require justice, holding accountable those who engaged in a cruel statewide campaign to abuse and kill thousands of Oklahoma citizens with the COVID-19 vaccine and with hospital protocols. Beginning in 2019-2020, several individuals, most of whom were high-ranking in the American government, federal agencies enacted a campaign directly or indirectly to cause the abuse and deaths of Oklahoma citizens, many of whom are over 60 years of age. We present herein current evidence to support an investigation into the accused identified below for a number of suspected crimes against 18 victims whose families have come forward requesting investigation. In particular, we believe the evaluation of evidence supports a minimum of terrorism, murder, and engaging for conspiring to engage in a pattern of criminal offenses. Okay, so we have lots of these here. And we're looking for, and Exhibit A has the families. Exhibit B are the petitions and testimonial excerpts of surviving family members on behalf of these victims. The other side's going to have expert witnesses. Okay. And here's whom they're going to deal with. Anthony Fauci, Cliff Lane, Francis Collins, Deborah Birx, Rochelle Walensky, Stephen Hahn. Most of these look, these are the people who worked for public health during COVID. Okay, I want to see if the exhibits are contained in here. And I kind of get to the end and I don't see them. One goes to the end to find everything. They are not showing this to me, but they're even doing kidnapping. So this was keeping people in quarantine. Isolating people in hospitals was considered kidnapping. And the accused federal officials knowingly and intentionally designed a policy for healthcare systems that incentivized the accused hospital administrators and their providers to coerce and fraudulently induce Oklahomans to become hospital patients, often against their will, and held by physical restraint, including security personnel from leaving, even against medical advice, one admitted. The accused accomplished coercive hospital administration through their campaign to mislead Oklahomans and the American people regarding the appropriate treatment measures for treating COVID. Yikes. Okay. This is one. We get down here. This is Louisianans seek justice against Dr. Fauci medical establishment. And this was done in June. This one was done when? I think they've only done 5 or 6 states. This doesn't have a date on it. This was done back in June. And here they're working with Edward Tipley, Jr., APLC, with the support of the former Feds group, blah, blah, blah. You can see how all this is put together. And again, they are going to try Anthony Fauci and former federal officers for terrorism, first-degree murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter, human trafficking, prohibited racketeering. There's a whole bunch. Same people, and again, if you get down, this is all they're doing here. News release. This is just a news release. The Virus Law Group, together with Claire Bird Law Firm, this is March 11th, together with the former Feds Freedom Group, blah, blah, blah. And this is going to be, this is submitted to all of the Texas district attorneys for Angelina, Bexar, Brazos, Collin, Cook, Dallas, Fort Bend, Galveston, Guadalupe, Gregg, Harris, Hayes, Johnson, Lubbock, Montgomery. I know there are more counties than that. My thought is that they did the big ones. And here they are going to do this in Texas. And this last one is Florida, and this one down here is more Florida. So these are red states, and they're going after county attorneys in Texas. They hope someone will bite. They threw a lot of chum in the water and are hoping the fish are going to bite. Fish are going to eat it. And again, I'm not sure the state attorneys have standing. I'm not sure where public health fits into the law, but we'll see if anybody bites. And it's been about 6 months, so maybe nobody bit. You know, you can say you did all this, and this stuff all goes in the circular file, which is where I hope it ended up. Now we got somebody else we're looking at tonight. We can go back a little bit.
Ray Rod ESQ on X, and I'll link.
Okay, there is our friend Joseph Sansone, and he's had an eye operation. He is not missing an eye. Hopefully that's going to come off in a few weeks. Okay, let's look. Let's get Google up. Now, we need to find out if he's licensed. And my first thought was, is he a, let's get this up. He has a PhD. That is perfectly reasonable as far as I'm concerned. He could very well be a licensed clinical psychologist. So we can do that. And the way we do that is we go to Google. And we're going to need our potatoes here. And what we're going to do is look up, that is not pretty. That's much better. Florida, because we know he's in Florida. Because he says he's in Florida. These people say where they are roughly enough. and we're going to look up professional licenses. These are managed on a state level. If you ever want to see if somebody's in good standing, you check their license. This is a very clean method of doxing somebody. It's perfectly legal, and we can find out. Let me get this up again, Google up again, and we're going to do Florida and professional license. I meant that. Okay. License certification, Florida Health Source. Okay. And I want to find somebody who has a license. Verify a license. That's what I want to do. And I don't care what license it is. I do have a first name. I do have a second name, Sansone. There, so you can all see it. This is license verification. We let it rip. Bingo! He has a PhD, but he doesn't. Let's try SciPact. I am not a robot. Oh, I hate this. With a passion that kills, I hate this. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to search for Sansone. There's a Carmela Sansone active in New Jersey, but there's no Sansone Joseph. Let me do nothing. Nothing. Okay. He is not a... If I bring in Sansone, there's only one, and she's Carmela, and she's in New Jersey. So he's not a licensed psychologist. Interesting. Okay, our next step is just to look him up. Now, he has a PhD, so that will help. There's not that many Joseph Sansones with a PhD. So we're going to go to Google. And we're going to type this in first. We can just do his name first. Bingo. He has it. Okay. Psychology Today lists him as a counselor. LinkedIn lists him as an MS. We're going to have a lot of stuff piling up here. So I'm going to take some of this down because we just have too much stuff up here. We'll get back to that guy. I promise we'll get him tonight. So here we have him in Psychology Today. He has an MS, a PhD, an LMHC, and a CCMH. And this is who we have. Joseph Sansone, MS, PhD, LMHC, CCMHC, is a psychotherapist specializing in clinical hypnosis. Joseph was trained in advanced clinical hypnosis at the Academy of Professional Hypnosis in 1997. Dr. Sansone has a BA in psychology and MS in clinical mental health counseling and a PhD in psychology. Joseph has spent much of his life as an entrepreneur and enjoys facilitating self-actualization. Joseph Sansone is a licensed mental health counselor, as well as a board-certified mental health counselor. Dr. Sansone is also a member of the National Guild of Hypnotists. As a and he here can talk to you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joseph Sansone. I'm a psychotherapist and I specialize in hypnosis and hypnotherapy. I deal with a wide variety of issues, from mental health issues to complementary mind-body hypnosis to achieving peak performance in any area of life. If you're ready to change, please visit my website.
Okay. And he works on anxiety, stress, trauma, sleep, weight, self-esteem, confidence, creativity, mind, body, pain, grief, depression, and just about anything else. He has a website. We can go visit it. So he is not a psychologist. He has some mental health training, but he's not. And here he is again. And this should have his, he's an adjunct professor at Hodges University. Still doing it. His Doctor of Philosophy in Psychology is from Sophia University. And I've never heard of Sophia University, but we'll take a look at them too. Right now, I'd like to take a look at who we have here. SansoneHypnosis.com. And there he is. He's in Bonita Springs, Florida. Life coaching, counseling, psychotherapy, hypnosis, hypnotherapy, serving Bonita Springs, Naples, Estero, and Fort Myers. He's on the west coast of Florida. And he does transpersonal hypnosis. We understand that your journey is a soul journey. Our goal is to help you grow from your struggles, heal from your pain, and move forward in your personal and spiritual growth. However, you choose to define that transcendent peak experiences are designed to guide you toward authentic living. And he will treat just about anything. And he is a licensed mental health counselor. So he does have a license of a sort. I don't know what a licensed mental health counselor is. Okay, so he's a licensed mental health counselor. My credentials are listed here. Okay. What is a licensed mental health counselor? I have no idea. So this is another one we're going to be looking at. By the way, this could be called using Google constructively tonight. What is one? What's the body that licenses them? I have no idea. But we want to hold this together because it's I can just type it in. It doesn't want to cooperate. So let's look up what a licensed mental health counselor is. I know what a licensed clinical social worker is, but this looks like a look-alike. One of my favorite people to listen to, and I haven't heard him in a while, is, I forget his name, but he's Dr. Mordecai something or other. Not Mordecai Ben David. Mordecai, it'll come back to me because it's always on. I will recognize the name, but he does mental health for the Frum community, which means Orthodox community, very Orthodox. And every so often I feel like correcting him and saying, you don't call 15-year-old women girls. You call them 15 teenage women. They play women's sports. Think of it that way. And, young women, they are young women. Young women in high school sometimes just want to be heard, for example. You can say that. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, that's not helping me. How to become a licensed mental health counselor. That's better. Licensure requirements for professional counselors. Counseling.org. That looks a lot better. Okay. Counselors versus therapists versus psychologists. Key differences. Florida Board of Clinical Social Work, licensed mental health counselor. Okay, lots of these here. We will just work our way through them. We've got so much junk up here, I'm going to pull some of this off. Okay, licensure requirements. What is a professional counselor license? A professional counselor license attests that you have met your state's minimum requirements for practicing as a counselor. In some states, a counseling program graduates can be licensed to practice as associate counselors until they meet all the requirements. Like the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico also have that. And let's click this. What do I have to do to be licensed in Florida? Oh, lovely. That's not going to help. This may help better. Counselors versus therapists versus psychologists, key differences. While emotional health concerns have gained visibility in recent years, many people still struggle to find support they need in their daily lives. According to a 2019 study from the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, an estimated 4.1 million adolescents aged 12 to 17 in the United States had one major depressive episode in the last year. If you're considering a career in the mental health as a mental health professional, it can be exciting and potentially overwhelming to learn the many job titles and career paths. What is a counselor? A counselor is used broadly to refer to a professional trained in the fields of psychology, counseling, social work, or a range of medical fields such as nursing. Mental health counselors specifically are those professionals working in a mental health capacity. Mental health counselors perform many functions and responsibilities. Their duties include patient evaluations, providing educational resources and around mental health conditions. Often mental health counselors will specialize in a particular here are some common titles. Licensed mental health counselor. A therapist is an individual who has been professionally trained to provide some form of therapy to a patient or client. Now, he's a hypnotherapist, but he can use that word. Two definitions above sound similar, but of course they are. Mental health counselors and therapists occupy the same professional space, treating the same issues with the same patient populations. Even within the industry, you can find the terms used interchangeably. Okay. And here, a licensed counselor provides patients with different therapeutic practices that focus on problem solving. Licensed therapists seek to identify the source of patients' issues through a combination of talk therapy and other frameworks. And that's about the right thing. Therapists make less money than counselors, interestingly enough, but there are plenty of openings. And a Master of Science in Counseling Psychology will make you a licensed counselor. A licensed therapist can be a Master of Science in Psychology, Social Work, or Counseling Psychology. Okay. Again, the guy's not a fraud. He does hypnotherapy. He is not a doctor, not a medical doctor, but that's something you can find out pretty easily. Okay. Licensing. Okay, look up, verify a license. License verification. Okay, we're back where we came from, but I'm going to try it again anyway. Sansone Joseph. Let's search. We got him. There's a dentist. There's a licensed medical health counselor. We got him. This is our guy. He is a qualified supervisor, mental health counselor. He is clear and active. He renewed the license 2028. There are no complaints against him, and he's doing what he's doing. Again, this guy's clean. A lot of times they are. Sometimes you'll find inactive licenses. These people know how to stay above the radar. That's what we want. They stay under the radar, actually. So this guy's flying under the radar, and that's good. Now, of course, we can find some of the things he has done and said. So we're going to need another Google search, and this one uses our potatoes. We love when our search uses potatoes. We really do. And I'm going to make sure I have the right color here. I have the right color here. Let's get some up. We love our potatoes. And this is a night on how to do Google right. And we're going to get this down to 36. We're looking for Joseph Sansone, and we can check his Substack out. And yes, I could have gotten that from other places. And over here, we've got a Substack, and he leaves most of it open to his credit, because I've looked at it a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit, and we're going to end it. This is a known item search. It's a good way to kind of end off tonight. I'm going to check my chat box. I gave up on my chat. Hello. I wonder if you're still here, Paved Husband. I love this. Is there some kind of random name creator out there? You've saved me from having 0 people tonight. Okay. I'm going to run this. And I'm not going to let you bottom feeders come and pick on me. I'll do this forever before I will do this forever before I buy followers. Okay. Let's run this. Back to Google. And again, you could run this in the other direction. These are commutative. The and is implied, but we use it anyway. Okay, there he is. There's his Substack. We got him perfect. That's all we want is to get it perfect. There we are. That's where we need to be. And this is quite a he's got himself a law case of his own. Case seeks to prohibit mRNA injections because they are bioweapons. Now, you can make all the jokes you want about crazy shrinks. We go a little further, because you have to get to the beginning of this to see what he's been up to. Okay, he's appealing this because he's been on InfoWars. And, pick whom you're going to go to. Okay, breaking, standing. This was February 6th. Like he's been doing this a lot. We got water fluoridation here, and lots of political stuff, and let's grab it. More Americans have died from the mRNA injection than World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War combined. I am not backing down. I'm standing alongside an army of the dead. I filed my appellate brief today. My case number is 1D2024-3305 in the First District Court of Appeals. The appellate brief is below. The background for those not familiar with my case is as follows. On February 21st, 2023, I passed the first COVID ban the jab resolution at the Lee County Republican Party. This has never been made into law. And we can grab this by right-clicking it. This resolution declared COVID-19 injections biological and technological weapons of mass destruction, called on the governor to prohibit and the attorney general to confiscate vials and conduct a forensic analysis. In April of 2023, while in congestive heart failure awaiting triple bypass heart surgery, I was able to get the late Dr. Francis Boyle to endorse the resolution. I don't know who Francis Boyle is. Eventually, 10 Florida Republican county parties and county parties in other states passed the resolution, as did the Florida Republican Assembly, National Federation of Republican Assemblies, and the Republican Liberty Caucus of Florida. The Republican Party of Idaho and the Arizona Republican Party also passed the resolution. Thank God saner heads have prevailed. The only reason is it did not pass overall is party leadership often blocked it from the agendas, and the movement was being censored. You were being told to go play in the traffic. The Florida Department of Health called for a halt to mRNA injections. Still, the state of Florida did not prohibit the mRNA weapons platform. I want to continue reading. On December 1st, 2024, I filed a new complaint seeking an injunction to prohibit the governor and attorney general on okay, let's go back. I skipped a paragraph. On March 3rd, 2024, I filed a writ of mandamus in the Florida Supreme Court seeking to prohibit the mRNA nanoparticle injections because they are biological and technological weapons of mass destruction. This was transferred to the circuit court where it was eventually dismissed. I appealed this decision and I filed an appellate brief on Monday, May 27th. And why was it dismissed? Let's go have a look. Okay. So it went, and we don't need this because it's just more of the same. Okay. On March, okay, so the appeal was denied. I appealed the decision and then filed my appellate brief on Memorial Day, May 27th, 2024. The appeal was denied on October 12th, 2024. Subsequent motions for rehearing were also denied. This guy will not give up. He's a little Energizer bunny. On December 1st, 2024, I filed a new complaint seeking an injunction to prohibit the governor and attorney general from continuing to allow the distribution of mRNA nanoparticle injection because they violate Florida FS 790-166 weapons of mass destruction, along with the state's fraud and informed consent laws, as well as constitutional rights violations and FCRA violations. I also sought a declaratory judgment on these laws with the latest complaint affidavits that were provided by Francis Boyle, JD, PhD, Karen Kingston, Anna Michaelia, whom we know from Clouthub, Rita Labo, Andrew Zwiak, Marvick Villa. This is a very small community. Paul Alexander, whom I don't know, asserting in various ways that MR injections are biological and technological weapons of mass destruction. FS 790-166. The affidavits can be viewed here. This is what Dr. Francis Boyle, a law professor, wrote the 1998 Biological Weapons and Anti-Terrorism Act, had to say after I filed my complaint. Very fine piece of legal work. Kudos. Happy to be part of this fab. This hurts to read for a whole bunch of reasons. The case, however, was dismissed on December 9th, 6 business days after the initial complaint was filed. Then I filed a motion for rehearing on December 15th, 2024, which was denied on December 19th, 2024, and then on December 22nd, I filed a notice of appeal. Today I filed my appellate brief. The file is too big for one screenshot. You can download it below. Updates will be posted at josephsansone.substack.com, and you can support my efforts at Give, Send, Go, because I got to pay court fees. Thank you for watching. And remember, you can catch me live on Twitch.